Hi, how are you doing? I'm great because today I'm here with my February wrap up. Despite February being a shit reading month, like honestly, I did read quite a lot, like decently. I didn't read like a lot, but I read a decent amount. But what I read just wasn't good. Like my ratings are in the 20s, so you know. I'm not super excited to talk about these books with you today because most of them were really mid, but we're gonna do it anyway. Let's just start off with the stats, like we do always. I read 11 books in the month of February, which amounts to 3,645 pages read, which is an average of 331.36 pages per book and an average of 125.68 pages per day. Then for format, we have 3 books I owned, 1 ebook, 6 galleys from NetGalley, and 1 library book. And then for rating, and this is gonna be so painful, I have 1 1-star, 3 2-stars, 5 3-stars, 1 4-star, and 1 5-star, which is an average rating of 2.81. And for age range, I have 4 young adult novels, 1 new adult, and 6 adult books. And in genre, we're a bit all over the place with 1 graphic novel, 1 mystery thriller, 1 paranormal, 4 contemporaries, 1 fantasy, and 3 historical fictions. So yeah, those were the stats. Let's just get into the books. Starting off with Call Me Iggy by Jorge Aguirre Rafael Rosado, which I give 2 to 5 stars to the guy from NetGalley. This is a graphic novel and it deals a lot with kind of like immigration and heritage, as well as it's centered around the 2016 election, which I'm just gonna say, because it's centered around that, this book feels very outdated already, and it just came out. But overall, I did quite enjoy this graphic novel. I liked what it had to say. It just said I felt like it was lacking a bit of depth, and I wanted it to go into its themes just a little bit more. Then next, I read The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins, which gives 2 to 5 stars to the guy from NetGalley, and I did again really enjoy this one. I actually had a really fun time with this. This has 2 timelines. Basically, you have the main timeline, which is present day, and then every so often we get like little excerpts from like letters that are basically like set in the past. And we also like every so often get like little bits from the internet, like emails, forums, like stuff like that. And I really liked the way that was told. I really liked all of those elements and how they mix together. I do have to say I prefer the past timeline. I just was much more engaged within that part of the story than the present timeline, but in the end I do like how those 2 things came together. It's just that we follow 2 protagonists in the present timeline, and one of them I found really unlikable, and I wasn't supposed to think they were unlikable, so that was a little bit of a like thing that went on. And then I also thought a lot of the twists was like very predictable, like the big ones were really predictable, and that just kind of put down my enjoyment a little bit. And then next I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I give this 5 stars. Look, I'm an Ali Hazelwood fan. We've been know then, but this still took me by such a surprise. This is Ali Hazelwood's first paranormal romance. She's before this only written contemporaries, and you know, I'm not as familiar with paranormal romances and like that aspect of the romance world. I've not read a bunch, but so therefore I was a little bit hesitant going into this one. But it's a vampire and a werewolf kind of like romance, and it is arranged marriage, and it has some of like other tropes that I really enjoyed. So I was still excited for this, but just a bit, you know, carefully, because you know, I don't know what to expect from a paranormal romance. But this easily is my favorite Ali Hazelwood that I've ever read, and I fucking love a bunch of Ali Hazelwood's books, so that says a lot. That is easily my favorite. This was just so good. I really loved our main character. Also, something really fun is that for the first time ever in Ali Hazelwood, we get the perspective from the guy, not fully. At the start of every chapter there's like a little bit. I think this might be the longest example that it has, but just like a little sentence or 2, like a little small paragraph from the guy's perspective, and it makes everything just feel so much more complete, and I really love that. I thought the romance was absolutely incredible, like the pining, and it has all of the typical things that I love in an Ali Hazelwood novel. It definitely is still Ali Hazelwood's. If you're not like an Ali Hazelwood fan, you're not all of a sudden gonna love this, because it has all of her mannerisms still in it. But if you are a fan, you'll love this as well. I'm sure of it, because it just, everything we know and love about her, just up to the 10th degree, and it's so good. Then next I read Save Us by Mona Kasten, which I gave 5 stars to. This is the final book in the Maxton Hall series. If you've been about it, I read the first 2 books in like September and October, I believe, of last year, and I didn't think they were good at all. But I had a really fun time reading them. So now the final book finally got published into Dutch, and I decided to check it out. And same thing, it's not good. Like, quality wise, this series is shit. This book is shit. Like, there's so much about this that is just terrible. It's just that it's very compelling, it's very readable, and I did actually enjoy this more than I expected. And then next I finished up another series by finally reading Here's to Us by Rebecca Albertalli and Adam Silvera, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars to. This is the second book in this duology. The first book, What If It's Us, came out like, I don't know, 2018, like a while ago, and I really enjoyed that, but it has a bit more of a unconventional ending, and a lot of fans were upset by that. So Becca Vitali and Anna Silvera decided to write a sequel, and this came out, I believe, in 2021. So there was a bit of a gap between book 1 and 2, and I feel like it's so obvious while reading this book that this did not need to exist. This was never planned to exist. When they were writing the first book, this was never the intention, and it just got written because the first book was so popular and people were so unsatisfied with the ending, and the publisher wanted to make money. Like, that's the only reason why this was written, and it's so obvious that it's painful. It's not a bad book. I did have a fun enough time reading this book. I had a fun time being back with these characters, especially the side characters. I really love the side characters. Then next I reread Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, which I give 5 stars to. If you missed last month's wrap up, you might not know that I'm trying the Throne of Glass series again. I originally read it up to Air of Fire, and I unintentionally DNF'd the series. Like, I didn't plan on that continuing, but that never happened. So now I'm rereading the first 3 books and then hopefully finishing it. And this second book I actually enjoyed much more than I expected. I did keep my rating of a 3 star, but I actually had a really fun time reading this one. I still am not the biggest fan of Selena, but the side cast is very much growing on me. I also feel like this book is very much filler in my opinion, but we do get little glimpses at more of the expanse of the story and where things are going to go, and I'm very interested in seeing how all of that will unfold. Then next I read Violent Q by Falon Ballard, which I gave 5 stars to Gaga from Nangali. I really enjoyed this author's previous book, just my type. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 5 star. I really loved it, and this one has a lot of tropes that I really love, so I was very excited to get into this book. And honestly, at the start I was enjoying it. I really like the setting. It's set on a movie set, and just the story of the movie, and also just like the story between the 2 main characters was really interesting, and I was very excited to just kind of see everything play out. But I just have to say that I thought the romance was extremely poorly developed, and the guy main character just kind of seemed like a bit of an asshole. Then next I have another massive disappointment, and that's My Dear Henry by Kalynn Bayron, which I gave 5 stars to. Liza Gallagher from Nagali. This is one that I've been putting off reading for a little bit. For no reason, I've been meaning to get around to it ever since I first got a guy of it, but it's been out for a while now and I still haven't gotten around to it, but I finally did this month. It's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde retelling. It's queer, and it sounded so good, but it just didn't work for me. I do think the concepts in it are really interesting, and what it does by introducing queer themes and people of color as main characters within the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story, I think all of that's really interesting. Just how it remixed that story, I thought was really interesting. But I just thought our main character was extremely underdeveloped. All of the side characters were extremely underdeveloped. The romance that this entire book hinges on isn't developed at all. And therefore, it just was a very boring read. Then next up, I tried to salvage things, and again, didn't work with Her Princess at Midnight by Erica Ridley, which I gave 5 stars to the guy from Nagali. This is a historical romance novella that is a Cinderella retelling. It's sapphic, and I really enjoyed things about Erica Ridley before, so I was really, again, I had so much hope put on this one novella, and this was just not good. Like, it's not even that I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone because I didn't think it was good. I thought it was really badly written. I thought this read more like a poorly written first draft of a book rather than like a finished novella. There was no romance development, no character development. the Silvera aspects felt a bit forced at times. And then next up, I very impulsively picked up this book. I had no plans to read this book this month, but I've been staring at me for a couple of days. I'm just like, why the fuck not? Because it's not like I've been having any luck with the books that were on my TBR this month. And I picked up The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, which I give 5 stars to. This one I actually really enjoyed. This was a very addicting read. I read this so quickly in a time where I felt like I was falling into a reading slump. I flew through this book, so there's that. I really quite like the romance. I don't think it is the strongest, but it is enjoyable. I like the banter between the two main characters, and I liked all of the side parts, but it is like the non-important parts. The male main characters personal development I also thought was really well done and very interesting. It's just that I thought the female main character was absolutely insufferable. Like in the beginning she was just a little bit annoying, but then throughout the book she just doesn't go to any character growth at all, like none, and she's just so annoying, so insufferable, so poorly written as well. Like so many times her inner monologue and like what she wants, what she needs, what she desires goes completely against her actions and what she says, and it's just so annoying. And then the last book that I read this month already is In Want of a Viscount by Lorraine Heath, which I give out of 5 stars to this guy from NetGalley. This is the final book in the Chessman Masters of Seduction series, and I really enjoyed the first 2 books, and then this one I also really enjoyed. These are all like companion novels, different romances, and this one I really liked. This one grabbed me from the beginning and didn't let me go until the very end. I thought this was also very hot, like like the sexual tension between these 2 main characters is so well done, and it just jumps off the page, and it's just so good. It's typically a thing that I don't look at very often, but like in this one it had me patting myself a little. But besides that initial sexual attraction, there's also a very great job done at developing that romantic connection. The main character is also the female main character is also an inventor in this one, and I thought that aspect of the book was also really interesting. It's just that at times this book felt a little bit slow, and therefore it wasn't like a book that I absolutely loved. And yeah, that's already everything that I read this month. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these books if you've read them, as well as some of the books you read in February. I hope you had a better reader month than me, because mine was shit. But yeah, I'm hoping for the best in March, and hopefully I'll see you around next time. Bye. Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated?